following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the AEW Rampage review here on the WZWA Network. What a joy, what a privilege to be with you all once again. And here I am with my friend, Jooseyboy. How are you, bro?
Like best friends or?
I wouldn't go that.
No, but I'm good. Here we are for another review of AEW Rampage. As we said last week, it's been hanging by a thread, but decent Grand Slam episode here, as we'll get into.
Yeah, and look, bro, maybe we could have been best friends at some point, but it appears that you're inviting friends over. We only just talk via Zoom calls. You've got a friend at your house right now who's just waiting.
You got invited over to come over tomorrow and watch the boxing with us.
No, I don't recall that. I do not recall that.
I actually, quite frankly, I can't.
Quite frankly.
All right. Let's get into it.
Enough clowning around. I don't want to take up too much of your time because you've got all your friends hanging out.
No,
God forbid.
My time is precious.
Is it? Sorry, Mr. Popular.
My time with you is the most precious of all, though.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Rampage Grand Slam, Arthur Ashe Stadium, bro. Obviously, this week's Dynamite and this week's Rampage, big shows for the company. And I guess it's tiding them over from, All Out being a pay-per-view. They need something big in the middle before we get to Full Gear, which is like next month or whenever it is. I don't know. I don't pay that much attention, but it's coming up soonish, right? So, I understand where they're coming from doing big shows like this with, I guess, the culmination of a lot of stories and the continuation of a lot of stories taking place. Speaking of a story which I would believe would be a continuation of a story, we open the show with CM Punk in his first television match in 7 years, taking on Powerhouse Hobbs of Team Taz. I'm going to let you take this one here, bro, to begin the proceedings here. Punk, Hobbs, what did you think?
I think it was a good call opening this match. It's a hard way to open it. There's a lot of stuff going on the show, so you don't really need to rely on the Punk match as the main event. I thought Punk looked great once again. You could really see that Punk was, calling the match, controlling the pace, doing his best to make Hobbs look good and try to build Powerhouse Hobbs up a little bit. Powerhouse Hobbs obviously carried his end of the bargain as best he could. He still looks a little green to me. I think that some of his footwork was a little lumbering and he kind of had two left feet at different occasions. There were a couple of moments where it seemed like, he's kind of moving around like a bit of a sandbag, but he'll get better with time though. There's definitely potential there. Hobbs took a Frankensteiner off the top rope and did not successfully make the rotation into the front flip bump and landed on the back of his neck, the back of his head, his upper shoulders. It looked really nasty. He jammed himself up quite good. Hopefully he's okay. Overall, I'd say that this was a good TV outing. It was definitely structured like a TV match. It wasn't anything that you'd expect to see on a pay-per-view. I'd give this a C.
Very good, bro. Do you think the story continues here with Punk and Team Taz? Do you think they move him into something with Ricky Starks? Because one thing I wanted to kind of allude to before I get on with my notes here, Brian Cage. Okay, I get that him and his wife said something on Twitter that they weren't happy with what was going on, and now it seems like that angle has been completely dropped. Obviously, behind the scenes, they must not be happy about what he said. I haven't seen any news reports about the situation. So what do you think of that, bro? Do you think it's a good idea to kind of drop this angle and not mention it in several weeks?
Look, not really. I think it's a wasted opportunity to really do something with Brian Cage, but it's also obvious how much potential Ricky Starks has to be a big star, and I like the idea of them building towards him versus Punk. I do think that's where this is going to go.
Right. Well, fair enough. I just feel a bit bad for Brian.
Mhm.
I think the angle, as we've reviewed the shows over the last 10 weeks it's been, that's been one of the angles we've been complaining about most, not really getting a lot of meaty goodness out of it. It's just a little bit dropped in here and there, but like nothing to sink our teeth into. But anyway, I was happy to see a hype video for the match. They should be doing that whenever we're having a match that's the culmination of some sort of story. And they do it sometimes, but then they don't do it other times. Again, consistency, please. Punk's in the small tights. I prefer the long. Hopefully he goes back to that and switches back and forth. As you said before with Will Hobbs, I'm digging him. He's cool, but he's a little green. His timing is off with things, and he kind of there's some things that might need only 4 steps into oh god, I always stumble over my words. Sometimes he takes like 6 or 7 steps to do something which might only need 4. The timing just doesn't seem right sometimes with some of the things. I remember one stage he had come off the ropes with like a big kind of like avalanche type thing, but it just was off, and Punk bumped it awkwardly. I kind of felt like Punk was a little bit out of his element here. I'm not sure if he's ready to carry a green guy. It's been 7 years. The Darby Allin match obviously was fantastic, but not sure if he was quite ready at this point to be pulling an A-grade match out of Powerhouse Hobbs. I do like the story of the match, though. There's a slow build with the heat. Punk weathers the storm, fights back. The spine buster by Hobbs was a great reversal out of the go to sleep. Again, yes, the Hurricane Rana reversal. Like, I just wrote, Hobbs, man, you're too green for some of that shit. He doesn't need to do that, and I'm surprised Punk wanted to do a spot like that, because I don't think that this match needed a bump like that. It kind of, just to me, I just don't think it made sense in what a Hobbs versus Punk match should be about. Punk should be fighting from underneath the whole time, which is what happened, which is why I kind of feel like this was a little bit out of left field. It's kind of like doing a spot for spot's sake. Liked the finish, wasn't offended by it. Like seeing Hook take that bump. So yeah, I wasn't too disappointed with this, but again, it could have been a little bit better if Hobbs maybe was a little bit more experienced. But that's okay. I still like him. Coming up next, Thunder Rosa backstage. There's still little hype for some feud going on there between her, Jade Cargill, and Nyla Rose. I guess this is like a 3-women kind of split feud. There's probably going to be a triple threat match at some point. And the only note I really wrote was Thunder Rosa, hubba hubba. As soon as she starts talking, man, I melt, bro. I melt. What do you think, bro?
Yeah, I thought this was a good little piece of business from Thunder Rosa here. I'm interested to see where this goes. Yeah,
it will be interesting to see her overcome these 2 much bigger women. Coming up next was, man, I have to say, I think there were a little too many multi-man matches on the show. There was 2 singles matches, but I think there was, just for me, there was too many tags. Young Bucks, Adam Cole, the Super Click, taking on Christian and the Jurassic Express. I'll take it away with my notes here, bro. One of your quotes was at the beginning of their entrance was, "What a waste of money Brandon Cutler is," which I laughed at. One thing that I am concerned with is I hope they keep Christian relevant. I hope that they just throw him in the background now, because he was in the main kind of story going into All Out. Now all of a sudden he's kind of like in the background with this thing going on with the Jurassic Express and the Elite. So I'm just concerned that he went from a threat to Kenny Omega to now everyone's just worried about Jungle Boy versus Adam Cole. I think everyone should be more worried about Adam Cole versus Christian. That's a match Adam Cole should be worried about, and whoever's writing the show, Tony, should be concerned about building towards. So I didn't like Christian being an afterthought in this. I think if they're going to have an Adam Cole match on Full Gear, they need to start building some sort of issue with Christian and Cole and have some sort of back and forth between the two on the microphone. I just think it's important that people like Adam Cole, people like Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks work with people like Christian, because it's going to make them be better as performers and not have to rely on their indie stuff and that style all the time. I haven't even got to the Jurassic Express entrance, but again, bro, I muted it because I don't want to fucking hear it. I didn't even look at the screen because I don't want to see it. I fucking hate it. You had mentioned the camera work was a little off at points during this matchup. Again, that they're improving, but sometimes they don't quite hit the mark with the production.
Yeah.
So, and again, you made another funny comment, bro. You said, you know, it seems like the Young Bucks need a shotgun shell to the face to lose a match. There's a lot of things that take place, you know, that feel like this, geez, no one should be able to kick out of this. And let's see, what else have I got here? The lowest point of the match was, I don't know what was going on, but Cole and Luchasaurus kind of came at each other and met in the ring, and these back and forth punches whilst holding each other. I was like, we were both like, that's fucking horrible. I hope someone picked up
That
on
looked
that.
fake. That just looked fake. That looked like kids in a backyard wrestling match. That hockey fight did.
Yeah, it was just that was terrible. And I'm thinking to myself, why would Adam Cole and Luchasaurus be able to like just trade punches back and forth and like it's a stalemate? There's no fuck away. Look at the size of Luchasaurus. One punch from him and that's gonna rock you, man. So like Luchasaurus needs to be told, hey man, remember you are actually like fucking 3 times the size of these other guys. Like that they need to protect this guy. You know, I know it's a kind of a silly hokey gimmick that he's got going on, but again, it kind of, and you know, with the finish, you know, he's the one that takes the fucking pin because they're protecting Jungle Boy. You know, they're kind of Christian lose at this point. So Luchasaurus has to be the one to take the fucking pin. Look at the fucking size of the guy. Why can't Jungle Boy get pinned? Why is it always this guy that's the fall guy? I get it. They see Jungle Boy as a pet project that could be a big star for them one day, but I think he's probably just more suited to being in a tag team. I don't think he's going to be this future of the business that some people have been talking about. I've got nothing against him. I think he's a very talented guy. He's got a great fucking head of hair. You know, he's going to be like a, you know, he'll be a popular kind of Rey Mysterio-ish kind of popularity maybe at some point. But, you know, to make that comparison to him and Ray's a one in a generation type performer, whereas there are a lot of guys in the roster that can do what Jungle Boy can do. And that's not a knock on him. I'm just saying, I don't think that this protection of him really needs to be there. He can lose a match, bro. He can cop a pin. And if someone wants to say, oh, well, like fucking 5 weeks ago, he got pinned, I don't care. All right. In this instance right here, Luchasaurus should not be getting pinned by one of the 3 guys that is like fucking tiny as fuck. I don't care if it was a triple T move or what. I don't care. He's fucking massive. Let's make this realistic. Okay. I'm sorry. I went on a bit of a rant there. It's your turn.
No,
I hope I've left something for you, bro.
No, but look, I personally, this match didn't bother me in the sense that it was too really, especially hokey and overly spotty, except for that hockey fight bit. That was awful and just completely, they didn't even bother to try to make it look like it was real. But yeah, the match overall for me felt really flat. I was kind of let down by it, and I'm going to give it a D. I don't really have anything else to say about it, to be honest. It was just kind of there for me.
I hated the spot where they threw Christian off the fucking entranceway and then Jungle Boy off the entranceway to get him away from the ring so they can just hop back in and fucking triple team Luchasaurus. It's just like, man, they I don't know when the last time was that they lost to fucking like multi-man, like kind of 6-man or 8-man tag or 10-man tag. They never seem to lose these things. I get it, you got to kind of establish them, but at some point they got to slip on a fucking banana peel, man. It's just getting a little old for me. I mean, I get building heat and that hot air balloon type thing, but oh, they're fucking tiny dudes, man. They can't fucking you need a fucking chainsaw or a machine gun to beat them. Okay. Moving forward, it's the men of the year with our boy, Mr. Dan Lambert, taking on Jericho and Jake Hager. Before I throw it to you, bro, again, I muted Jericho's entrance. I can't fucking take it, dude. I don't fucking like it.
Just stop. Please stop.
Please. It's so like, it is so men walking around a fucking building all day with a replica title bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why people do that. And I don't know why that they're so insistent on this every single time. Like, yes, when Road Dogg came out, every week it was ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I get it. You have a shtick. It happens every week. Cool. But sometimes you change it up a little bit here or there. Or sometimes you get cut off or whatever. Every week we get this shit with Jungle Boy and fucking Jericho. And I think even the other week we got it twice with Jungle Boy in one episode. It's like, oh. Anyway, bro, take it away.
Yeah, so I thought this match was actually turned out quite good. It kind of was more of a, like, in comparison to the tag match with FTR that we saw last week, which was much more of a traditional classic tag. I felt like this reminded me of just something I might have expected to see kind of in the mid 2000s, like a tag team match from that era. I don't know why in particular I kind of got that vibe from it, but just the way that they were blending, strikes and sort of brawling with the different spots, I just kind of got that ruthless aggression era vibe from the way that it was worked. And that's a positive thing. I kind of liked it. I dug it. I dug the way that it kind of flowed as it went along. Jericho's kind of not got the physique that he once did, but, he can still pull off all the moves, the triangle drop kick, the lion salt, impressive. I thought Jack Swagger, Jake Hager looked great. He always looks good. I've always felt that people kind of sleep on him a little bit because he has a lisp and, blah, blah, blah. But, I actually think he's a great talent. Definitely the perfect call having Men of the Year go over in this match. That's exactly what you want, to put some heat on them. It was successful. I thought that Lambert looked good out there. I thought Paige and Scorpio Sky looked great. And, I loved the beatdown after the match by American Top Team. I thought that was really good. All the MMA guys and girls looked like they were having a really fun time out there. But at the same time, they didn't make a joke out of it either. They did what they were there to do. So I'm going to give this match and segment overall a B-. I thought it was well executed.
Yeah, cool, bro. Yeah, I felt like as the match kind of was getting underway that the crowd were kind of sitting on their hands, and the match didn't have a lot of heat to it, I suppose. But that's what happens when you only give something a 1 week build. I wrote down, don't give me a foregone conclusion, please. I want to see the Men of the Year get a victory here. It started to build up a little bit. I liked Dan Lambert getting actively involved in the match. The hour 2 thing was a little bit of an annoying interruption, but that's okay. And the finish, man, I was so happy that they didn't just have Jericho and Hager go over here. I really like the fact that Dan Lambert got involved and it had something to do with the finish, the small package. Shame that he couldn't get it all locked in and hooked in properly, but that's because I think Jake Hager's legs are so fucking long that he just couldn't quite get there. But, why I like them winning is because I know that there's going to be this AEW diehards. They're going to be like, oh, I can't believe that they're giving him and his team a push like this. They don't need him. Oh, he's killing the vibe. Up yours, okay? Fuck that shit. Dan Lambert is fucking awesome. And, this is what you want. You want a heel that actually gets heat. It's not go away heat. Mm-hmm. It's good heat. And these fans have worked themselves into a shoot, as far as I'm concerned. After the match, they grabbed him, and I started to panic that they were gonna ruin the heat in the hot air balloon. that I just alluded to earlier, and that they were going to get one over on him this early on. And I was so relieved when the top team fucking showed up, fucking surrounded the ring. This was what I like to see, man. They fucking laid waste to both of them. That fucking knee that Jericho copped to the face at the end there was awesome.
Yeah, and that was delivered by Andre Noski.
Yeah, and I wrote down in capital letters, top team, yes, 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 yes. I liked it. A bit of heat there. Good to see that Dan Lambert is going to be utilized pretty well, at least heading forward. Moving on, bro. I audibly groaned when I realized that this was on the show. Hardy Family Office, Private Party, Butcher and the Blade. I like Butcher and the Blade. Taking on the Lucha Bros and Santana and Ortiz. I like Santana and Ortiz. I'll take it away here with my notes, bro. We immediately knew where they were going at the beginning of the match. We knew what this was going to become, and it certainly became that. We just kept going, nope. When they did that spot with all the dives to the outside, it took too long. The happenstance is supposed to be there. There's no happenstance. They're all just fucking waiting to take these dives. I'm sorry. It's odd because Santana and Ortiz seem to not do this when they wrestled FTR, but then you throw them in here with these other guys and it's like, straight away they throw that psychology out the window and they just go to the same old shit, and this is stuff that I still think hurts AEW. And I know I was a big fan of the cruiserweights in WCW, but I've said it so many times, it always made sense. People weren't just standing there for 10 seconds waiting for someone to jump on them, so they can all be in unison. Yes, it looks very flashy. Yes, it looks very impressive, but it takes us out of the suspension of disbelief. Too many super kicks, overly spotty. All of these moves they're hitting could be finishes. I'm not overly offended, but fuck, man, it's just a little overboard. It just seems like when they have these 8-man tags like we saw at the buy-in for All Out, it ends up fucking just breaking down into this spot fest of shit. And again, not overly offended with this one like I was with that match at the buy-in for All Out. I'm glad the finish was what it was, because I was like, no one's fucking kicking out of that array of moves. And then I wrote, are the inner circle still a thing? Because Jericho and Hager just had the fucking shit kicked out of them in the previous segment. I'm not surprised that the other three didn't run out, because what are they going to do with all these fucking UFC fighters in the ring? But it's like Santana and Ortiz didn't seem like that they were too concerned when they come out here, after the boys just got the shit kicked out of them in the previous segment. Okay, fair enough. But like, Sammy Guevara's off else. We'll get to that later, but he's off somewhere else with Fuego del Sol. It's like, are they a stable? Because you never really see them all together, ever since this feud with the Pinnacle was over. So anyway, that's my notes, bro. What did you think of this fucking spot fest?
I was not a fan of it. I would have preferred to see Santana and Ortiz versus the Butcher and the Blade in a standard tag match. I get that there is a place for these spot fest matches, but I just felt like, if you go back and look at a 6-man tag between the Shield and the Wyatt family, or the Shield and the New Day, or the Shield and fucking Cesaro, Tyson Kidd, and Sheamus, whoever it was in there with, they found a way in those matches to give Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose an opportunity to do all their indie shit and all their dives and stuff like that. They would build it in a certain way so that, boom, Seth Rollins gets the tag. He's doing his flurry of dives and shit like that because the opponents happen to be on the outside after a smoz. Brings it back in, slows it back down again. Tag gets made to Ambrose. He comes in, does his stuff, there was no sense of like, okay, let's at least have some sort of structure to how we're going to do this match. And unfortunately, I've got to give this a D-. It wasn't very impressive at all.
Yeah, no, I'd noticed when the match began, bro, that like I was like, I still got like, a few matches to go here. They're not going to be given that much time for this, and it felt like they were like, okay, we've got all this shit that we want to do in this matchup, and we've only got like fucking 10 minutes, and they just fucking crowded the match with all of this stuff. And look, it's very impressive stuff. I could never do it, so I'm impressed that they can do it. But again, it's just
not taken away from the athletics of it, but
of course not. Moving forward, bro. Matt Hardy interview. Love this because he's such a snake, bro. He challenges Orange Cassidy to a hair versus hair match, and Jack Evans is going to be in the match. And poor Jack, just the way that he reacted to it was comedy gold. I really enjoyed this. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. I liked this as well. I would rate this A-. It's fun. I'm looking forward to seeing the match. Hopefully Orange Cassidy loses.
Oh, well, that would be amazing, but I kind of see Matt losing his hair here.
Like I would just love it if somehow in the match next week, like Orange Cassidy's about to win the match like everyone expects. He's about to get he's won the match even, and he's got the clippers and stuff. Matt Hardy just blindsides him and shaves his head anyway to get heat, man. I would love it. I would love that.
And sometimes they just have these baby faces on the roster that are always like kind of protected, and you know that nothing really that bad happens to them. But speaking about baby faces, something bad happening to them. Oh my God. This was my favorite part of the show, dude. I love this so much because a few weeks ago, we hated the fact that Sammy Guevara came out with his little sign and his signs, and we thought it just made no sense being on the show whatsoever. They start doing it again, and man, I was groaning. I was so annoyed that they were wasting time on this. And then, fuck, man, as soon as I saw Miro standing behind them, I start screaming like, yes, this is what I want. This is what I want. I crave this stuff. I hate Sammy Guevara. I hate Fuego del Sol. I hate baby faces like this. When he attacks Ricky Starks on commentary in the background, that is champagne television. He is such a prick that he's loving seeing these two guys get fucked up by this big dude. Fucking Fuego takes a fucking bump through the table. The only issue I have with it is that the lighting wasn't very good on the bump. The camera shot wasn't very good. They didn't show any replays of the spot. I think that was a mistake. This is a big table spot here. You know, he threw him and the dude flipped through the air and went through the table. They need to cover this stuff better in production. And my last few notes were game over on Sammy, fucking eat shit, fuck yeah, Miro. That's what I wanted to see. And I hope I see a repeat of this week on Dynamite in that TNT title match. Bro, take it away. What did you think?
I have nothing really to add to that. That was pretty much perfectly summed up by you. I'm going to give it an A-. It was another awesome segment that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, great stuff. Andrade interview again. This is all they give him. He doesn't really show up on the show that often, except for these pre-tapes.
He you know what though? He made the most of it. That's what I'm going to say.
That's good.
I'd give his little promo probably a C+. I felt like when I was watching it, just the way that he talks, because he doesn't speak the most fluent English, he kind of has to really deliberately kind of say like, I know when I need help in a match. It's like this gangster or mafioso, like browbeating some associate trying to intimidate him. I love that vibe. I think that was cool. So excited to see the next chapter of Andrade's little storyline here.
Yeah, no, I do like the kind of, it's like a Colombian drug lord type thing he's got going on with the fancy looking outfits and all that. A big fan of it. But yeah, I just feel like, God, can't wait for this story with him and Park to be over. So like we can see him just do something else and be a bit more actively involved on the shows. Moving forward, bro, We get the ladies match on the show here. It's always the token ladies match. They never get more than one. Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford. Take it away. What did you think?
Yeah, obviously, we're pretty big fans of everyone involved in this match. It was quite a serviceable little match that they had. I liked the fact that, Penelope Ford got the win with the brass knucks at the end. It was old school cool. Ty Conti runs down to assist her friend Anna Jay, who's being beaten down by Penelope Ford and the bunny. I'd have to give this a C-. Like, this was perfectly fine as well. Never a problem seeing these ladies on the screen.
Absolutely not, bro. And what I'll say is, not a bad match. I'm liking the gimmick with the brass knucks for Penelope Ford. That's cool. Now she's got a little thing. Her and the bunny have a little thing that they do. Ty Conti comes out to make the save. I thought she looked dangerous and pissed off, and I liked that. The way that she came out and went after them was the way that I wanted to see Brian Pillman Jr. act when he would come out and go after MJF and Wardlow.
Mm-hmm.
Then who would have thought an angle between two, feuding people gets a second spot on the show? That's crazy. This is the first time I've seen this in about 10 weeks. Out comes the Hardy family office getting involved, wanting to allow the ladies to continue that beat down the way that they had obviously planned from the get-go. Orange Cassidy makes the save, comes out with Chris Statlander. Then here comes the Dark Order, bro. Oh, man. Here we go. They rush to the ring. Hardy family office bail. And then we get this bit where, the Dark Order are back together and they shake hands, but oh no, Evil Luna he just can't do it. He just can't do it. And he's walking up the ramp and I'm just like, this story, I don't fucking care about this story at all. This group needs to break up pronto.
Mm-hmm.
What do you reckon, bro, with the Dark Order?
I second that. I don't know what they're doing with this Dark Order storyline, but this whole segment at the end with the Dark Order in the Hardy family office was just overkill and kind of ruined what I thought was a nicely executed match and little angle before that. So I had no real interest in this. I'd give this whole segment, this whole smoz a D. And I just want the Dark Order to split up so that the good people in it can go on to better things and the crap people in it can start rebuilding, attempting to rebuild themselves into something better.
Yeah. Next, before we get to the main event, Mark Henry, now he's not on commentary. Now he's just got his one interview segment, a show now, which I don't know. I'm not sure about it.
I liked Ricky Starks on the... I liked Ricky on the commentary, but I agree, man. I would have also liked to see hear Mark Henry as well.
Yeah, no, I like having a heel commentator. That's cool, but yeah, I just kind of feel a bit bad for Mark because he was put on commentary with 3 other guys. He obviously didn't get the chance to really get much shit in. I think they should just had him, Taz, and Excalibur. I don't think Jericho needed to be there at all. Okay, so he has this interview. It's Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki, Eddie Kingston and Moxley. I wrote down, and I've made this joke before about Braun Strowman. When Moxley is thirsty, he drinks bore water because he bores the shit out of me now, dude. So over it, so fucking over it. Eddie Kingston was the light in this segment. Him just losing his shit, trying to rip his shirt off, doesn't get it all the way. And then he leaves the scene, and then Moxley starts talking, and they're fucking arguing, and then all of a sudden Eddie's back in the background, fucking yelling and carrying on. This dude, I'm really digging him, man. He's light years ahead of Moxley as far as entertainment value. What did you think, dude?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, obviously, I've been singing Eddie Kingston's praise from the beginning. You hadn't really seen him prior to watching these shows. And, but I've always been a big fan. This was great. He carried this entire segment. This promo segment wasn't that great otherwise, but at least he was there to provide some entertainment to it.
Yeah. And of course, we get to our main event, the unsanctioned lights out tag team match. Uh, what's the team called again? Suzuki Goon.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, yeah, they take on Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. Bro, take it away. Your thoughts on the main event of the Grand Slam edition of Rampage.
I feel like it's been a disservice to Minoru Suzuki, the way that this booking has been executed and the way that it's come across. There were flashes of brilliance in this match. There were a few things here and there that I really enjoyed. A couple of the strikes, a couple of the moves that were smattered throughout. If this same match took place as the main event of Ring of Honor Final Battle in front of 550 diehard wrestling fans, I think it would go over gangbusters with that crowd. Here we're in a huge, brand new, magnificent facility with 20,000 people in Arthur Ashe Stadium. A lot of them are there to see the famous wrestlers that they know from TV. And a lot of them have no idea about any of this Japanese style or the differences of Japanese wrestling versus American wrestling. And I just think that a lot of the crowd was sitting on their hands for this. It felt really flat. There's just something that it really seems like Moxley seems to think that it's much more exciting watching him exchange punches than it actually is. Like he seems to think like him standing toe to toe with someone throwing punches is like a captivating thing. No, it's captivating when Terry Funk stands there and puts his dukes up and throws punches. It's captivating when The Undertaker stands there and starts throwing those soup bones. It's captivating when Ric Flair comes back from underneath and he starts him with them little jabs and chops. It is not captivating when John Moxley does it because he just hasn't been showing any of that fire in his belly or any of that kind of sociopathic undertone that I felt the Dean Ambrose character had. Even when he was doing silly stuff, you always kind of felt like this guy has a bit of an edge to him. This guy thinks differently. I just don't see that anymore. He, like Moxley almost as a character looks like he's more bored than he was when he left WWE. It's just really weird. Everything that he's doing comes across really flat. And I think that the match suffered from a stilted type of pacing until the finish. Like it ended up kind of getting like having a decent little finish to it and stuff like that. But yeah, man, like I'd have to give this a D+, and that's being generous. Like this really just tonally did not meet the mark and it wasn't executed as good as it could have been.
Yeah, man, it just didn't click. All of us like say, okay, is Lance a heel? Because he's coming out there, man. This fucking sucks, man. He's attacking these fucking ringside dudes, beating the shit out of them. For what reason? For what reason? I'm thinking this whole time, what reason is this taking place? And it's for a fucking stupid spot with a choke slam off the ring apron on Moxley onto these four guys. What did they do to fucking deserve getting such a beat down like this? But it was also set up for this stupid, just choke slam him on the floor.
And not only that, bro, but it was super overly obvious that that's what was happening because when he beat the guys down, it just looked really half-hearted and phoned in when he was doing it. So it seemed like it was just a means to the end to set up the spot. They didn't even bother to pretend that these guys had done something to piss off Lance Archer in some way. So it just made it look like the most contrived, ridiculous, piece of choreographed tripe that I've seen in quite a while on a wrestling show.
Man, it was fucking nonsense, man. Like, because when he came out, he attacked two of them, and then the match had been going for a little while, and he attacks two more, and the other two guys are still down. What? No one sent anyone out to see if they're okay. Like, they're not supposed to be in this match. I know it's a lights out match, and whatever takes place, it's unsanctioned. So, AEW have nothing to do with, what's about to take place. But fuck, man, he grabs those two guys, throws them over with the other two, and then does this fucking shit spot. It was just like, that did not need to happen in this match whatsoever. I noticed early on as the match began, there were Eddie chants. Man, go with him. Get him, once this fucking shit's done with, which I hope it's done with now. I know Homicide, we'll get to Homicide, but get him back in there with Miro for that TNT championship. I hope they do that. I really hope that they haven't just like let that be one and done. I think Eddie, his time is now. He's starting to get really popular with this audience. I feel he's really built up over the last few months, especially because of that stuff with Miro. And you know, there was a great spot with Eddie gone through the table during the match. That was one of the highlights. I wrote later on, "This is boring, dude. I call this the forbidden bore. I do not like this shit anymore. Like, I'm done with it. Moxley and anything he's involved with is just not connecting with me. I think he needs to turn heel." I don't even know if that'll be interesting, to be perfectly honest with you. I could quite happily continue watching AEW and him not even be in the company. That sounds mean, but like, I'm just not connected to him whatsoever. The best part of the match, bro, was Kingston hitting Lance with chops, it having no effect, and him just doing a quick thumb to the eye. That pops me more than anything else in this hardcore, lights out, fucking unsanctioned fight. That was the best part. A thumb to the eye. Who would have thought something so small would mean so much to me? As the match is wearing on, all of a sudden, Homicide's theme song plays. He comes out from the crowd. I was happy to see him and stuff. It was cool to have him come out there, but I kind of felt like it ended up being an afterthought. It kind of felt like he was thrown to the outside a little bit too soon, and he didn't have the effect on the match that he probably should have. He probably should have hit something quite impactful or interesting. It was just like one kind of awkward chair shot, and then he was just thrown to the outside. I kind of feel like they should have thought about that a little bit more, do something that's going to make it stand out and be like, wow, like Homicide is here. Anyway, this eventually leads to Kingston getting the pin, and the show once again goes off the air with Wild Thing playing. We get our happy ending to the show with Kingston, Homicide, and Moxley all celebrating the victory. What did you think of the Homicide inclusion in this?
I'm happy to see Homicide in the company. I hope that that they actually use him going forward. I'd like to see him challenge for the TNT title. I'd like to see him take on Ricky Starks or the guys from Team Taz. You know, he's an interesting talent to bring on board. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him. And hopefully it's more than just as a flunky for Moxley and Kingston.
I agree, bro. And I just keep thinking to myself, how many more people are they going to put in this fucking roster? You got Bray Wyatt coming in soon, probably. You got him coming in. Okay.
Kevin Owens' contract is expiring next year. Like, he's
I gotta be honest,
go
man. If he comes in, I'm gonna be fucking livid, dude. I don't want to see him.
Are you going to be merciless on all of his matches?
No, I don't think he's a bad wrestler and all that. I hate what he does in WWE with the fucking Stone Cold Stunner and shit. But man, they don't need another guy like on his level. They don't need him. Like, you bring in Bray Wyatt, you're already having a hard time finding shit for Andrade to do. You're having a hard enough time for Park being on the show. I mean, when was the last time he was on the show?
There's also
having a hard time with Brian Cage, you know. Ricky Starks hasn't wrestled on a Dynamite or Rampage in fucking 10 weeks or something, you know. It's they've got a whole heap of really good guys there that just aren't being utilized because there's so many people. And Tony Khan, I think, did an interview recently where he was talking about, you know, trying to find stuff for all of these guys to do, and he thinks he can do it. But I don't. The proof is in the pudding right now, bro. You want to bring in a Kevin Steen, you want to bring in a Bray Wyatt. Who else bro.
Well, apparently Grand Metalik and Lindsay Dorado are unhappy with what they're doing in the company. Like Grand Metalik's asked for a release. You got to think that they'd probably want to snap those two up, not as big stars, but kind of as high flying wrestlers that they like to book those guys.
Everyone's just trying to jump off the fucking Titanic right now.
Like, you know what, man?
There's a limit.
I do want us to actually get on Zoom and have like a conversation about the state of WWE, because there is kind of this perception that WWE is like the ship that's hit the iceberg and it's sinking. And while it is true that WWE is going through a period where they are not the most popular promotion in the United States for wrestling at the moment, there are still measures that they're taking, things they're starting to do. So it is going to still be an interesting competition between these two promotions. It's not over yet. People are it's almost like the AEW diehards are so desperate to kind of be vindicated and proven right that they keep on saying, oh, it's done. WWE is all but done. Like WWE will die when Vince McMahon dies, It's not all but done. Like
they're still getting higher ratings.
Yeah, they're still getting higher ratings. Like, it's a different type of product as well. I don't think people understand, like, okay, they may like AEW more, but most small children and stuff love the WWE as well. And they're always going to, even if AEW is mega popular as well, I don't think WWE is ever going to stop being mega popular. They've got 60 years of a legacy of being this massive entertainment property in the United States and around the world. So thought I'd tack that on there because it's really starting to heat up online. I've been seeing a lot of people, every episode of AEW, the first thing I see is just, oh my God, another nail in WWE's coffin. Really? I don't think so.
Yeah. All right, bro. Give us your rating out of 10 for the Grand Slam edition here of Rampage.
I would give this episode a 7 out of 10. Actually, that's too generous. You know what? I'd have to say, I'd have to say 6.5 out of 10. I feel more comfortable with a 6.5.
Yeah, that was very Raven of you then. I'm going to continue my my rating always being slightly lower than yours. I'm giving this a 6 out of 10, bro. It was not middle of the ground. It was a little bit better than middle of the ground, but it certainly was not worthy of a 7. So, it is what it is, bro. It was an all right show. It was a pay-per-view style show, so I wasn't expecting it to be like a TV version of Rampage, but good for AEW. They've done well. They filled Arthur Ashe Stadium. 2 shows that weren't offensive. Dynamite was a little bit better. So, look, I'm happy, and we will be back doing Dynamite next week.
We absolutely will. It's going to be, it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah. All right, bro. Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Jooseyboy. That's JOOSEYBOY. You can also follow me on Instagram at Juicy_boy. And of course, you're already following us here at the WZWA Network. You can catch me all the time, several times a week on there as well.
Yeah, and I'm on Twitter at Karlifornia WZWA. That's KARLIFORNIA WZWA. Find us on Twitch and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter at WZWA Network. You're obviously here on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, please click subscribe. Okay, Juicy Boy, I'll let you go off to your little fun group there of friends that you've got at your house that I was clearly not invited to be a part of. I'll let you go off and enjoy your No Carl's Club.
Oh, don't be like that. Come on, man.
Yeah, no, this is like the No Homers Club. Have you already got a Carl there? Is that why I'm not invited?
We don't. You're invited. I didn't say you weren't. There was never any indication that you weren't invited.
No, now I know how Homer Simpson felt, bro. Crushing.
You're
And
not
if you
mad at me.
actually are inviting me right now, the answer is no. All right,
You're not mad at me, are you?
No, not really. It's okay, bro.
No.
All right. Well, thank you again, bro, and enjoy your time, and I'm sure we'll reconvene soon for another review next week for AEW.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you, Cole, and we'll see you on down the road, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you guys down the road. Thank you for joining us here today, and goodbye. Cool, bro.
All right. Sick.
I'll end the meeting now.
All right.
Speak to you in a bit.
Yep.